In Physics 2, in your optics class, you may have to draw a ray diagram. So a ray diagram is a fancy way of saying that you're going to represent three lines coming from the object on the left side of the lens and where it's going to intersect at the right side of the lens. So the very first line you draw is what you call the parallel ray, or the parallel line, coming from the top of the arrow through the lens, and it's going to exit the other side of the lens at an angle as such. That's called the parallel line. The parallel line crosses the focus, or the focal point here, and the focus or focal point is where all of the parallel lines cross at one point. So if you drew 25 parallel lines, they all will come across. Even if you drew a parallel line here, it will still come across at that point. That's your parallel line. But for the ray diagram, you don't do more than one parallel line. The next line that you draw, or the next ray that you draw, is going to be the focal ray. And the focal ray comes to the opposite side of the lens as such. And it's going to exit that lens horizontally. And this is called the focal ray. And of course, this one was the parallel ray. If you really want to think about it, the parallel ray starts parallel, but it comes out of the lens at an angle. The focal ray enters the lens at an angle, but it comes out parallel or horizontal. And by the way, you have, it's called the focal, I guess, because it says it goes through the focal point on that side of the lens. So each line goes through a focal point. One just goes through on one side of the lens, one just goes through it on the other side of the lens. And where they intersect over here is where you get your image. Upside down arrow is your image point. And lastly, we have the radial ray, which is one straight line through the top of the object all the way to the other side through the image point. Point right here at top of the object, and this point at the image point is really a representative sample of how the light rays behave at every point. So all of these points here, you're going to have these light rays doing the same thing. And what it does is produce an image over here on the other side. So don't get caught up on that too much, far as, only three light rays make an entire image. Those three light rays really is a representative sample of the entire kind of light spectrum that's bouncing off of the object over here to the left. And it's really just good practice to use the top part of the object on the left side and the bottom part of the image on the right side, which is really the top part of the image because it's inverted at the image point, to represent that ray diagram concept. And in this situation, what you will have is something called a real image. A real image is the opposite side of the object, and it's upside down or inverted. If the image was on the same side of the object to the left, then you will have something called a virtual image.